Well, hello, this is Jeff Gaudiosi, and you're on misplacedstraws.com where music comes to life. My guest today is making her second appearance on the site. We last spoke back in March of 2021 when she released her incredible debut record. Building on that success, she's back now with the follow up out October 21st called Powerzone, and there's definitely no sophomore slump here. Please welcome Chez Kane. Welcome back.
Thank you so much. Thank you for having me here again. It's great to see you.
My pleasure. And as we said, a lot has gone on since we last spoke. I mean, the debut record really took the rock world by storm. I had it in my top three records of the year, and I know a lot of other people did as well. Were you prepared for the success that that record found?
Not at all. So when we started doing the first album, obviously, when you're putting out new stuff, you never know how it's going to go down. You don't know what people's opinions are going to be or anything. So I didn't really prepare myself. I just wanted to put music out and see how it went, and it went down really well. So I was very pleased, as you can imagine.
And again, for Power Zone, what you've teamed up once more just with the insanely talented Danny Rexon. Now, also the band Crazy Licks. Was it a similar process to the first record? I mean, did you guys feel any pressure? Did you collaborate differently? Or was it just, okay, we did this once, let's go back and do it again?
I think that it was slightly different this time round because obviously when we did the first album, Danny was looking for a female singer, so we hadn't actually met before the project took off.
Mhm.
So he found me through YouTube and contacted me to ask me to demo some songs that he already had ready to go, that he'd obviously, some of the songs were written for Crazy Licks that didn't get used for Crazy Licks and stuff like that. So moving on to the second album now, I feel like we're growing together as a working duo because he's writing more specifically for me now. So I feel like the music's coming on, and yeah, it just feels a little bit different this time, but we're still going in the same vein, if that makes sense.
Well, and it does because I think you can hear the difference in the two records. And, it makes sense now that he's writing, knowing your style and what you can do a little more. And I really hear a lot of, the bands that influenced both of you guys really come through a little more on these songs. I mean, for example, to me, Rock You Up would have been the best song on the Def Leppard record if they recorded it, without a doubt. Children of Tomorrow Gone. Again, I hear sort of a 5150 OU812, Van Halen vibe to that. Were you guys listening to anything specific, or is it just being more comfortable with each other that led to these kinds of songs?
Well, to be honest, I think it's a bit of a mix. So obviously, Danny knows what I'm influenced by, and he's very strongly influenced by this kind of style of music. I didn't have anything to do with the writing process.
Mhm.
Again, I didn't write anything on the first album either. I did have the option to. I gave it a go, but to be completely honest with you, he's so perfect at writing this style of music. I didn't want to touch it. I was like, you write songs, I'm happy to sing them. So yeah, I feel like the influences are definitely coming across, but how Danny writes the songs, I don't know because I'm not there. I don't know how he does it. He's just very, very good at it.
He definitely is. And when we spoke last, you hadn't even played live as a solo artist before. And over the past year, you've really hit the stage and begun bringing your music to life. What's it been like for you? I mean, you've played everything from festivals to clubs in the past year and getting that immediate feedback from the audience.
Yeah, so as you can imagine, it was very frustrating with the first album because I couldn't get out and promote it
Mhm.
straight away because we were all locked down with the pandemic. So as you can imagine, the second I got chance to do a gig, I had all this energy built up in me, ready to just like pounce on that stage. So it's been pretty special to be able to play shows. I still haven't played as many shows as I would have liked,
Mhm.
but I have my first headline tour coming up a week after the second album release. So I'm very excited about that, as you can imagine.
That's gonna be great, and the reviews of the shows you have played have come in fantastic, so that's always good to see. You mentioned the headlining tour. I assume through Britain, any thoughts of being able to bring your show either elsewhere in Europe or even over to the US?
So I have a few shows where I'm going to Belgium as well, and I'm heading to Norway, Sweden, Spain, and then I am coming over to the US for the Monsters of Rock
Mm.
cruise. So I'll be heading over for the first time, and I'm hoping that's going to be the start of, coming out there more.
Yeah.
It's on the bucket list. So yeah, I hope so. I really hope so.
Oh, so do we, that's for sure. Yeah, and on the record, it's basically just you and Danny. You do all the vocals, Danny does all the instruments. I know you've put a live band together. Who's with you in the band, and is it an adjustment getting used to playing with people that aren't Danny, and trying, making sure they get the vibe that you were bringing across on the record?
Oh yeah, 100%. So obviously I've got some guys in the UK at the moment, but if I have to like travel abroad and
Mhm,
stuff, the lineup may change here and there. I'm not sure. It
mhm.
depends what will work out when I'm traveling. But the guys that I have right now are doing an absolutely fantastic job. They've taken all the songs on board. They've dissected these songs, and they want to perform them just as well as I want them to perform them.
Mhm.
So they've been really, they've been great guys, and I'm looking forward to heading out on the road with them because they've definitely put the groundwork in.
Mm. And it's funny, last year, I was mentioning how your debut record was one of my top 3 records of the year last year. You were also involved in another project that I believe I had in my top 5, and that was Jim Peterick's Tigress record.
Yeah,
You sang the track a cappella, which was one of the highlights of the record. How did
thank
you
you.
get involved with Jim, and what was it like working with just such a legend? And he's such a great guy to work with. I've gotten to interview him a couple of times.
I still feel like that was a dream. That was something that happened so fast. So obviously I just done the first album, and then Frontiers emailed me then saying that Jim was interested in having me on his album, and I was like, are you joking? Are you joking? I mean, come on. This guy's written Eye of the Tiger. It was crazy. So it just came about that way, and obviously I said yes, and then we were kind of doing what me and Danny do. Then he was sending the track over, asking me if I liked it, and then he just let me free and let me record it the way I wanted to record it. I sent it to him. He was really pleased, and then it went on his album. So yeah, that just feels like a big dream. It went so fast.
And was it kind of good for you as an artist to sort of step out of this zone you're in of working just with Danny and kind of work with somebody else, still in a similar style, but sort of be able to experience a new way of doing it?
Oh yeah, I love a challenge. So working with anybody is different, and you get different feels and different working relationships. Danny and I have a really good working relationship, which has grown to become a really good friendship. But I've done a few projects since, and it's always nice to change it up. So I do enjoy doing projects with other people as well.
Yeah, and it's funny because going back to Powerzone, the first time I heard Things We Do When We're Young and in Love, the very first thing I thought was, this sounds like a Jim Peter song to me. Just
Oh.
just the whole vibe of it, and kind of that story that he tells. I think Danny just really nailed that vibe. And I think it really shows an evolution in writing and your performance as well on this record. And with things moving so quickly and so much happening over the last year and a half or so, have you been able to realize how far you've come as an artist, or is it still just kind of all a whirlwind?
It feels like a bit of a whirlwind. It's like I've had some write-ups in some pretty big magazines
Mm,
recently, and I'm just like, what? And it just hits me out of the blue because obviously I'm quite busy a lot of the time, and I'm
mm,
recording or doing photo shoots, video shoots, trying to prepare for my tour, and I don't get 5 minutes to sit down and process it. So when people are sending me, look, you're in this magazine, and I'm just like, what? It's pretty crazy. Yeah, I don't believe half of what's going on sometimes.
Yeah, and you mentioned the video shoot. You have a couple of singles out already for this record, and you've had some pretty cool videos for both records. And you had the one on this one that's sort of like a throwback to the old Lita Ford days. How
Yeah.
involved are you sort of in coming up with the ideas and putting your videos together?
So obviously when we do the videos, I fly over to Sweden because Danny kind of comes up with the idea and the concept, and then there's people out there that he works with, so it's easier for me to fly over to Sweden. But he comes up with the concept with me, so he'll like talk to me about it before I end up flying over there. We obviously figure out what I'm wearing, stuff like that, and then when I get there, sometimes things change up because we haven't been in the same room doing it. So when we get there together, sometimes it doesn't work out the way we've planned. But yeah, everything that he puts forward, I'm always comfortable with how it goes. If I'm not comfortable with something, then it won't happen. So we have a really good communication and the relationship for the videos. And it's just, yeah, I'm really pleased with how everything's going. We have a blast, honestly. So
It
much
looks
fun.
it, you know, and
Yeah.
that's what's really cool is, you know, a lot of people sort of take themselves and what they're doing so seriously, and that's not to say that you guys aren't taking what you do seriously, but you look like you're having fun doing it, and that comes completely across to the audience.
If I wasn't having fun, I don't think that I could do what I'm doing, because there are a lot of hard times in music and it's not easy to get further forward these days. I think there's so much competition out there that you've just got to enjoy it and embrace it. I love singing. That's what I'm here for. And I'm loving trying all these new things and making all these videos and then seeing the end results. It's a pretty special feeling.
And you know, we mentioned how in your video it kind of had sort of the Lita Ford throwback feel to it. And you know, also coming up soon on November 5th, Pat Benatar finally gets inducted into the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame after far too many years of being eligible. As you know, a female in the rock world coming up, I mean, what does that mean to you? You know, was Pat Benatar an influence on you? You know, what does it mean to you to know that, you know, women in rock are finally being recognized for all they've contributed?
Oh, it's crazy. I can't believe she's not already there. But Pat Benatar was actually the first female rocker that I got to know. So my sister was very into Pat Benatar and I was into Def Leppard. So I was listening to Def Leppard all the time and she would have Pat Benatar blasting. So she's my first love of the female rocker side of the 80s. So it's pretty amazing. And finally, that's all I can say. Come on.
Yeah, it is long overdue, that's for
Yeah.
sure. Yeah. Well, we've been spending some time here with Chez Kane. The record is called Powerzone. It's out everywhere October 21st. And as I said in the introduction, I mean, a lot of times you're always a little leery to hear someone's second record, especially after the first one was so good. You're like, I don't know what to expect. But I got to say, top to bottom, this is a strong record. It ranks right up there with the first one, if not even a little better. I think there's a growth and a development in it on both your part and Danny's that really comes through. And I just wish you the best of luck with this record.
Oh, thank you so much. That means a lot. I'm really glad you like it, and it's so good to see you again.
You as well. We'll have to do this again soon. Hopefully we can catch you here in America around the time of the Monsters of Rock cruise. And, you know, we'll have to talk again either when the tour or the next record hits.
Yeah, that would be awesome. It's on my to-do list. Come on. I've got a bucket list and it's Tour America. Bring it.
We'll see you there.
See you there.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Bye.